Rishi Sunak's election campaign hasn't got off to a very good start, especially in his public Q&As. The first one, he had planted Tory councillors to ask nice and easy questions and even post photographs with them afterwards. Of course, they were soon picked out of the audience and called out for being who they are. Then he had his back to the camera, before thinking he's gotten it right for having the audience in front of the camera and him also in front of the camera addressing people. However, as you'll see in this clip, he didn't count for the staff workers who were clearly not going to be supporting him and laughing at what he was saying. So much so that they actually had to get one of the Tory activists or helpers or one of their team to come and stand in front of her so she's not on camera, and then start rigorously nodding up and down like he's some nodding donkey, pretending to agree with everything that he said.
And the Labour Party. This is someone who was happy to abandon every single promise that he made to become Labour leader as soon as he got the job. What makes you think that he won't do exactly the same thing if he became Prime Minister? And if he can't stand for anything himself, for all of you, that's the secure future I want for our country, and with your support, I will be delighted to deliver it for you. Thanks very much. All right. Right, okay, we're going to open it up to some questions. So I don't know who's got the mic or who's going to go first, but I'm looking around. Yes, miss. That's why we're now able to start cutting your taxes. So for someone on an average salary of about 35k, it's a £900 tax cut this year, which hopefully will give you the confidence to think the future is better. And my simple pitch to you would be, we're making enormous progress now. Right? The economy has turned a corner. You remember how hard it's been for a few years. We're at this point now where we can start looking to the future with more confidence.
After that blunder, he then put the audience behind the camera and just him in front of the camera, but failed to take notice of any background machinery and made himself look like Mickey Mouse. And yet, after all this extra careful planning, he still managed to let this question slip through.
My mum died in 2020, sort of the height of the pandemic. My brothers couldn't sort of be with us in hospital. I couldn't be there. You probably remember that was the month where all the parties were going on in Downing Street. I think the month after you attended a gathering where you got a fixed penalty notice. So my question was just sort of, how can anyone trust you or the party after things like this?
Yeah. Well, I'm really sorry that you lost your mum, and particularly in those circumstances, because it wasn't easy for so many people during the pandemic, the impact it had on everyone's life. And I can't imagine what it must have been for you not to be able to be with her at that time. It was really tough. And I'm sorry for what was going on in Downing Street. And for my part, I apologised. I showed up to a meeting earlier. As you know, I was working on things to help you and your business and many other families like that. And in fact, it was probably in that same period of time that you got to know me as Chancellor. But most of you didn't know who I was before then. And I popped up on your TV screens, announced the furlough scheme, because I knew that we were going to have to work together to get through that. And it was going to be a difficult time. And hopefully some of you here benefited from some of the support that we put in place, because that was what I was working on during the pandemic. So when you ask, can you trust me? We've had some really big shocks over the past few years with the pandemic and then what happened with energy bills. And when those things happened, I did everything I could to protect you and your families and help get the country through it, whether it was furlough, whether it was the considerable support with energy bills, because that's who I am as a person. I'm in this to help you, help your family, and particularly when our country goes through tough times, I will always be there to support you.
I certainly bet he didn't like that question at all, and claiming that he got his Partygate fine for being at work a little bit early is a bit rich. There's a lot of media attention of politicians at the moment because it's election campaigning and people are going to say silly things, and lie mostly, to try and get your vote. So I'll be keeping an eye out for any car crash interviews, and speaking of which, there's one on screen right now, so go watch that next. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.